You are about to discover 4 compliments so powerful and so unforgettable that they linger in a woman's thoughts long after the conversation ends. But before getting into them, consider this. How many times have you told a woman you're beautiful, only to receive that polite smile, a quick thank you, and then nothing? You know the smile, the one that quietly shuts the door instead of opening it. Here is the truth most people overlook. If a woman is attractive, she has heard "you're pretty" more times than she can count, probably several times just this week. To her, it blends into the background. It is pleasant, but it carries no weight. It is like applauding someone simply for arriving, nice in the moment, forgettable soon after. There is also a darker psychological side that most men never recognize. Overused compliments actually drain attraction. They answer the question too quickly. You're pretty, you're funny, you're smart. Mystery solved. Once the answer is given, there is nothing left to explore, no curiosity, no tension, no spark. The mind closes the file and moves on. But what if your words didn't close the puzzle? What if they opened one instead? What if your compliment planted a question in her mind that refused to go away even days later? That is exactly what these 4 forbidden compliments do. They are called forbidden because once you use them, the dynamic shifts permanently. They do not flatter her vanity. They reach deeper into her emotions, her identity, and her sense of mystery. These compliments make her curious about what you see in her. They make her want to live up to your words. They quietly reverse the roles so she is the one leaning in, investing effort, and thinking about you. If you have ever wondered why simple compliments fall flat while some men leave a lasting impression without seeming to try, pay close attention. Once you understand these, you will never see compliments the same way again. The first forbidden compliment is this: you have a certain energy about you that I can't quite describe. At first glance, this might sound ordinary, but psychologically, it is extremely powerful. Most men hand over the conclusion immediately. You're pretty, you're clever, you're funny, end of story. That kind of praise feels good briefly, but it is predictable and fleeting. When you say someone has an energy you can't quite put into words, you are creating an open loop. Her mind immediately starts working. What energy? What is he noticing? What makes me different? Why can't he explain it clearly? In that moment, you step into her thoughts. She replays your words, and every replay brings you along with them. I remember being at a gathering once where, instead of the standard, "You look great tonight," someone said to me, "There's something about your presence that makes people around you relax. I noticed it as soon as you walked in." That comment stayed with me for weeks. I kept revisiting it. Was it how I smiled, how I spoke, how I moved through the room? What was he seeing that others overlooked? And that is the magic of this compliment. Each time it crossed my mind, he crossed my mind too. That is its real power. Timing matters here. You don't say this the second you meet her or it feels scripted. Wait until you've shared a moment. Maybe she told a story, made you laugh, or interacted warmly with others. Then you say it, tailored to what you noticed. You might say, "You have a way of making people feel at ease that I can't quite explain," or "There's something different about how you think and I haven't figured it out yet," or "You carry yourself in a way that subtly changes the atmosphere." The key detail comes next. If she asks, "What do you mean?" Don't spell it out. Just smile and say, "I'm still trying to understand it myself." That unfinished answer keeps her engaged. She will instinctively show you more of herself, hoping you'll figure it out. That is when you know she's invested. If that first compliment creates intrigue, the second one goes even deeper. It doesn't just spark curiosity, it invites vulnerability. The second forbidden compliment is this: I get the feeling you're the kind of person who has stories most people never hear. Every woman, without exception, feels that there are parts of her that remain unseen. She may appear confident, social, or put together, but beneath that surface are layers, passions, and experiences she rarely shares. Maybe she loves something unexpected. Maybe she has creative outlets no one knows about. Maybe her past holds moments that shaped her deeply. When you say this, you are communicating something rare. I see beyond what's obvious, and I'm interested in what's hidden. That is incredibly compelling. Psychologically, it works on several levels. First, it makes her feel complex and intriguing rather than predictable. Second, it ignites curiosity about what you think you've noticed. Third, it makes her want to validate your perception by opening up. A man once said to me, "You seem like someone who has a few interests that would surprise people." Without thinking, I started sharing my fascination with true crime podcasts, my small collection of vintage postcards, my love for old pop music. I ended up revealing pieces of myself effortlessly, just to show he was right. The more I shared, the more connected I felt to him, because he was the one who invited that depth. This compliment works best right after she reveals something small that doesn't quite match her image. That's your opening. You can say things like, "You strike me as someone who's been places most people wouldn't expect," or "I feel like you have skills or passions that don't show up right away," or "It feels like there are chapters of your life people would be fascinated by if they knew." Then pause. Don't rush her. Let her decide what to share. When she chooses to open up, a bond forms naturally because she feels seen and understood without being pushed. The third forbidden compliment shifts the power dynamic entirely. This one doesn't just intrigue her, it makes her wonder how she fits into your life. The compliment is, "I can't tell if you'd be really good for me or really dangerous." Most compliments hand all the power to her. You're incredible. You're stunning. You're perfect. While flattering, they place her above you. She becomes the prize, and you become the admirer waiting for approval. This compliment flips that script. When you say this, you're expressing interest without surrendering control. You're implying discernment. You're saying you're intrigued, but you're also aware of your own standards and boundaries. That balance is magnetic. She starts wondering what you mean. Dangerous how? Exciting? Disruptive? Challenging? Dangerous here isn't negative. It suggests she has the potential to affect you deeply, to shake things up. That idea sticks. She's no longer just evaluating you. She's wondering whether she measures up to what you want. That subtle shift creates tension and attraction that ordinary compliments never could. One time, after I made a sarcastic remark about a guy's drink, instead of getting annoyed or defensive, he looked directly into my eyes and calmly said, "I'm starting to think you might be dangerous for my peace of mind." And I can tell you honestly, that single sentence stayed with me for days. It wasn't just a throwaway comment. It planted questions in my head that refused to leave. Was I dangerous? What exactly did he mean by that? Was it a good kind of dangerous or something else entirely? Did he enjoy that I challenged him instead of playing it safe? Every time those questions replayed in my mind, he replayed with them. That is the real power behind this forbidden compliment. It doesn't fade, it echoes. This is not something you say randomly or without awareness. It works best in moments filled with playful tension, when there is teasing, banter, or a bit of bold energy between you. If she challenges you with a grin or pushes your buttons just enough, That is your opening. You might say something like, "I'm starting to think you could be trouble," delivered lightly, not seriously. If she does something unexpectedly sweet right after being a little sarcastic, you can smile and say, "I honestly can't tell if you're an angel or if you're about to completely ruin my plans." When she surprises you with quick wit or clever humor, you could say, "I have a feeling you might be dangerous for my productivity." Each version carries the same message without sounding rehearsed. The delivery is everything. Say it slowly, with a half smile, like you are genuinely trying to figure her out rather than impress her. That curiosity is what makes it feel authentic instead of like a practiced line. When it feels real, it lands deeper and stays longer in her mind. And now comes the final forbidden compliment, the one that reaches beyond emotion and straight into her mind. Because when you acknowledge the way she thinks, not just how she looks or behaves, you step into a category most men never reach. The fourth forbidden compliment is this: "You think differently than anyone I've ever met, and I can't tell if that's going to inspire me or drive me crazy." Most men rarely compliment a woman's mind. They notice her appearance, her outfit, her smile. But when you genuinely admire how her thoughts work, you separate yourself instantly. This kind of compliment makes her feel attractive on an intellectual level. She's heard that she's beautiful countless times, but being admired for her thinking is rare. It also highlights her uniqueness in a powerful way. You're not just calling her smart, you're saying her way of thinking stands apart from everyone else. That creates tension because she's left wondering what kind of effect she truly has on you. It's connection and challenge wrapped into one sentence. I still remember when a guy said something like this to me after I shared a strange theory about coffee and personality types. Instead of laughing it off or calling it interesting, he leaned back and said, "Your mind goes places I would never think to explore, and I don't know if that's fascinating or a little scary." I was completely hooked because he was telling me my thoughts had impact. This compliment works best during deeper conversations when she's talking about her opinions, ideas, or passions. You might say, "The way you just explained that is so different from how I see things. I can't decide if I should be excited or slightly concerned." Or, "You see the world from angles I'd never consider. Spending time with you might completely change how I think." You can also say, "Your perspective is so unique that I feel like you're either going to teach me something incredible or completely mess with my head. What matters is that you truly mean it." Once you say it, follow up with real curiosity. Ask her to explain more. Let her go deeper. That curiosity is what turns words into connection. When a woman feels that a man values not only her beauty, but also the way her mind works, she feels seen at the deepest level. That is when fascination begins. That is when attraction stops being surface level and becomes something more lasting. Now take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because there's a reason these forbidden compliments work while ordinary ones fail. It all comes down to psychology. Basic compliments are like fast food. They taste good for a moment, but they're quickly forgotten. You're pretty has no staying power. You're funny is pleasant, but common. Forbidden compliments are different. They're like a mystery novel. They don't give her the answer. They leave her with questions. They make her replay the moment, rethink the interaction, and wonder what you really meant. And every time she replays it, she's thinking about you. They all share the same core traits. First, they create mystery instead of closing it. You're not handing her a conclusion, you're offering clues that keep her imagination working. Second, they make her feel unique without putting her on a pedestal. You're showing interest without submission, which creates balance and intrigue. Third, they subtly shift the power dynamic. Instead of you trying to win her approval, she starts wanting to live up to the intriguing things you've noticed. She begins investing effort. Fourth, they go deeper than surface attraction. You're noticing her energy, her hidden layers, her unpredictability, and her mind. These are things most men completely overlook. These compliments aren't magic tricks. They work because they are rooted in genuine observation. You're not memorizing lines, you're paying attention. You're noticing what makes her different and expressing it in a way that sparks curiosity instead of ending the conversation. That is what makes you memorable. Think about it. Anyone can tell her she's attractive. Anyone can comment on her smile. But when you're the one who makes her feel like a mystery worth exploring, when you're the one who sees her untold stories, her unexpected sides, and the way her mind works, you stop being just another guy. You become the one she thinks about when the room is quiet, the one she wants to understand, and the one she wants to prove right. That is why these are called forbidden compliments.